Hi, I'm Jennifer Fairbanks, and this is my lovely assistant Emily, my daughter. She actually just finished up her second day of virtual school, so we're going to do this, just the intro together. She's not in any of the sewing, but I figured you guys want to see her since some of you guys actually said that you like seeing her. Smile. If you also notice her front tooth, she broke her front tooth in half, so we're getting that fixed tomorrow. So it was a little bit scary, but we got it all done. Anyways, what I want to introduce to you is my new pattern, the Ariel Bra Cup. And this is a sample I just did, and then I actually do have a set of videos that are going to go with this. So in this video, I actually cover kind of how to pick your pattern and just some of the nuances with the pattern itself. I did a specialty kind of sewing demo for this one. To do a traditional sewing of this bra, you can actually follow the sewing steps for the Eve Classic. It'll actually walk you through the proper steps to sew a bra. So this is the front. So what I had done here is I actually used a velvet ribbon over the seams, so that way the insides are clean finished, and this is kind of over the raw side on the outside. I used my fold-over elastic that actually, it's brushed on the back side, so I use that to finish the neckline and the waistline. And I use my gold hardware. And this is also just, there is underwire casing on the other side, but I did put the velvet on the outside just because I thought that would be a nice touch. On the side, I just did a little piece of velvet here to clean finish it. You could easily add a piece of boning in here. I did not because I don't have any. And then here's the fun little back I did. So in lieu of doing a kind of a power net back, I decided to do one that was a little bit more strappy. So this is my non-stretch strap elastic. I'm sorry, not elastic, my non-stretch strapping there and over here. And then I have a little piece of it attached to some rings. This is, again, that little velvet elastic I use just to kind of hold everything together. And then just two single hooks and eyes. And they seem to work really well with the non-stretch strapping, just about the same width. So it's about 3/4 of an inch. So they all kind of worked out great. So like I said, this is the Ariel. This is my new pattern. And I'll go over a little bit of the details once you are actually seeing the pattern on the table. And thank you, and enjoy these videos. And when you actually make one, tag me on Instagram with Porcelynne Supplies so I can actually see your beautiful makes. Thank you! The Ariel Bra Cup is actually available and can be used as a demi cup, which was the original intention of it. But it can also be shifted and rotated slightly to be used with a regular wire or a vertical wire. So if you kind of flip through, sorry, excuse my creases here, kind of going through the instructions a little bit, I can kind of give you a little bit of information on here. So your underwire style, this is designed for the demi wire, and it places the cups, so this is the finish, this is one of them. So it places it in this orientation. So it definitely has a little bit more push towards the front. But you can easily use this, and with the regular wire or the vertical wire, it is shifted more like this. So as you can see, the general movement of the volume is going to affect how the cup's going to fit a little bit. So this one's going to be a little bit narrower, so it's going to push everything a little further. So the instructions in here for the size chart, actually you measure based on this orientation. If you're going to be using this orientation, you're going to want to go down one of the cup sizes that is on this. So you can see that the volume is now a little bit wider spread, so it actually does distribute it a little bit differently, and so your volume fits different in the cup, so you're going to want to go down a cup size. Okay, so my bands and my cups are sold separately, and this is so you can actually, this is I think only the third style cup that I've done, but I'll be doing a lot more, so you'll be able to mix and match. So you'll be able to get the band and use that band for the other cups when I release them, but it also allows you to have a little bit more customized shape. So here on my size chart here, this is how you select your band size, are these measurements that are over here. My measurements are a little bit different than other manufacturers. I came up with these about probably 6 or 7 years ago, and because I had people using my patterns then, I don't like to change things, especially once people get comfortable with them, so my sizes are a little off compared to what you'd have them ready to wear or other independent designers. So be really careful when you look at your band size. And generally, let's say you measure normally in like a 34C, well, you would likely be a 32D. So you go down one band size and up a cup size based on kind of how I do my measuring. So you do want to follow my chart. Now over here, this has the full bust measurements, and it tells you which cup you would fall into with those full bust measurements. And there's also a cup number. Now the cup number is because there's such a wide range. I have 19 different cup sizes, and they can be sister sized. And so here you do have, let's say the A cup for the 28 band is 29 inches. And then you would have the cup 1. So you want to actually, and you'll be making the cup 1. So that's kind of how you read this chart. Over here, this has a list of the different wires that are available on the patterns. So kind of taking a quick look over here, and I didn't print them all out. There are several different patterns in each size set. This one is for the 36 demi, so this is the number 5 cup. So I also have a 38 demi, a 40 demi, and then I have a couple for the regular wires. The reason I did the regular wires on these is because my demi wires don't go that small. So these ones were designed for the regular wire. I do eventually plan to carry the demi wires in the 32 and the 34. I just have not done that yet. I believe even my factory has the specs on those. So I'll be ordering those the next time. But in the meantime, you would just be using the regular wires on the much smaller sizes. So 1 through 4 would use all regular wires. Although you can always use a demi wire. You just will have to adjust your wire line possibly. So the wire lines on the Ariel cups, these are the base bottom. There is, because of how it's graded, so I have multiple wires available for each size, there is a little bit of fluctuation and a tolerance of about 1/8 of an inch for the wire line. Most of you would not even notice that unless you are meticulous about hand basting it, then you might. For cups, looks like for cups 8 and 9, these ones have a slightly larger tolerance, and there is an additional wire in here. This is because the ones that are highlighted in yellow, those can actually use my molded cups. And in order to get the fit correct with the wire line, I actually had to play around a little bit, so they are a little less consistent up here for the actual wire lines of the demi bands themselves. So you're going to want to double check against the band to make sure that everything walks okay. And I would always check from kind of the middle going up. If you are going to be basting them together, just kind of, I would draw in your seam allowances on the bands and then just kind of double check your measurements. And that just happens because I'm offering such a wide range of the cups. Okay. Okay. So here is also a kind of little cheat sheet on if you're going to use a different wire completely, the ones that may fit into they come pretty close to fitting the wire lines of the cups. So this is just a little conversion chart. So these are the demi wires that they're all designed for, and then these are, let's see, the regular wire, the vertical, or the flat vertical. It tells you which one is going to have the same wire line, so you can kind of go with that change. Now, the difference on my patterns with a lot of other ones is the upper torso shape. So if you look over here, and I only have 2 printed out, I have 4 different upper cup amounts. And this is based on the chest measurement. So if your chest measurement is fairly straight compared to your underbust, you're going to use the cup V0, or you're going to go down. I have 4 different ones. So I have the V2, V4, and V6 is going to be for the largest chest difference. And so that's what this chart here tells you, and it tells you can adjust the patterns a little bit more. I don't think I printed that. Oh, here it is. So you'll always want to do a test fit to make sure that it is going to fit well before you use good fabric. And this tells you how to make some more adjustments, but not everybody is going to need these. That's why I just have this information in here, so it helps you customize the fit even more. Okay, so for cutting here, you know, this is kind of how you would have it laid out. I'm going to cut some in just a moment. Now here, you can actually use this pattern and do foam. So if you wanted to have a padded cup, but you didn't want to use the molded, or the molded ones don't fit in your exact measurements, which they don't, because there's only 6 sizes specifically that will actually fit that one with the wire combination. So if you would like to make your own foam, then what you're going to do is you're going to remove the seam allowances here in the middle. So on that piece, you're going to remove that seam allowance, but you're going to leave it out at the side. You're going to remove your seam allowance in here, and up there. All of the other ones need to stay because those are going to be how they're sewn into the band, and so you need to keep those. And I'll show you how to sew the foam, but I'm actually not going to show you how to attach the foam to the cups. If you actually go and look at my instructions and watch the videos on this one, when we get to this part, this is actually how it is sewn. So we kind of flip it around the edge. This is why the seam allowance is so big on the neckline. It's for this turn. So you'll be able to look at the instructions on this one for attaching the foam into the cup. But other than that, the construction is going to be pretty much the same. So I have just a bunch of different steps that you can use. I'm pretty thorough with my instructions. And this also goes through troubleshooting some fitting issues. Oh, here's, no, that's the same as that one. I don't know why I printed that out twice. Okay. For this version of the Ariel, I'm actually going to do things a little bit different than I have done for some of my other demos. Now, if you would like to construct this bra like a traditional bra, please follow my construction videos for the Eve Classic, and that'll actually walk you through the proper sewing for this bra. This one I decided to make it a little bit more interesting. So I am going to be using this sheer bra tool for the entire bra. Now, if you notice, there is no back band piece on here. It's because I'm going to do something a little creative with the hook and eye in the back. I've got some 1-inch rings I'm going to be using with a 3/4 inch hook and eye, single hook and eye. And then I've got some gold hardware in 3/4 of an inch. This is the strap elastic. I'm going to be using this really nice, it's a soft fold over elastic with plush on one side and shiny. And I'm going to use this around the bottom of the band. Since it doesn't need to, the bottom of the band and the front doesn't stretch anyways, it's really just there for comfort to cover the edge. So I'm going to be using this for on here and also for the neckline. So the first thing we're going to do, move all this stuff over, and this is actually a fabric that I will be selling in a few weeks. I don't have it here right now, but I should have it in a few weeks, and it is amazing. It actually came from an inventory, basically it came from an old Fredericks of Hollywood factory that closed down. So yes, this fabric is vintage, but it is also really, really good. So you can see there's absolutely no stretch here. There is slight, very, very slight, like maybe about 3% stretch going across. And this we use across the cups, and then for on the band, on the front band, we'll actually go the other direction. Actually, I guess it doesn't really matter since what we're going to do on the back, it's going to affect how things fit a little bit. So we're going to come here. Now this is on the fold, and I don't actually want a seam there in the front. So I am going to fold. I can play around with the rules a little bit because I'm not doing a traditional bra. Okay, so I'm going to pin this also, just put a couple pins. It's going to move around on me. Usually use my pattern weights, but with this sheer stuff. And we are going to be using the fold over, but I'm not going to trim off any of the seam allowances yet. That's going to be one of the last things I do because I want to make sure that everything that it's looking how I want it to look before I start cutting stuff off. So this is the front. So no back, because I'm actually going to do some adjustable straps in the back. So a little bit different. This is going to be more fun and decorative. This would be kind of what I would consider to be designer. You may want to double layer this, especially if you are a larger size. The smaller sizes can get away with probably the single layer. But it's going to be more of a delicate bra, and you won't be able to really do any exercise in it or running or a lot of stuff. So, okay, so we've got this here. Let's see what we can get. Okay. And of course, that's not wanting to do that. Let's see. We can do that. So I am following my grain lines, although you can probably play around with these too. The way I set them was to make it so they kind of flex in the best directions. So get that one pinned. Do that one there. And so if you do have very sensitive skin, you would actually, this could be a little bit too rough to the skin itself. So what you can always do is you can use cup lining as well. So this is a little different than cup lining. And you're like, wait, how is that? And what actually is the difference? Well, cup lining is designed to go against the skin. So it's usually a little bit softer. And it does have a little bit more give, but it is usually designed to have something in front of it. So you could always play with this, and I'm getting the sheer cup lining also from that factory, and I'm getting it in a variety of different colors, so you could even layer. So you could do, the outside layer in one color and kind of to give it a little bit more depth. So if you wanted to use the sheer cup lining underneath, you could do like a burgundy underneath and then the nude on the top. So you can play around a little bit with that. So I'm going to cut here. Oops, I only cut through one layer. I can now cut through one layer again. I'm also aware that with the fold over elastic I'll probably need to trim down the neckline on here too. I am not going to do that yet because I have not checked my wire line on the band, and I want to make sure everything goes together really well before I start making more changes. And I probably will wait until it's actually sewn into the band before I add the fold over on there. So those are my pattern pieces that I'll be using. And I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and start sewing. Thanks for watching. If you would like to have more content like this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment below. Thank you very much.